Kindred Longevity Lifestyle Designers. This is Zach with secretsoflongevity.com. I'm going to tell you to stick around to the end of the video. I've got a special announcement. But the majority of this video I'm going to talk about the number one mistake that's pervasively done in any form of strength training. This mistake is training to failure. So there's a common sort of myth that to increase muscle mass, to increase strength, or to increase any sort of ability that's associated with strength training, that one must do it until the muscle fails. So if you're doing a bicep curl, you'd be doing a curl at a certain weight so that at a certain point it's so hard to pull up that you just can't do it anymore. Now what this is teaching your body to do is it's working on the nervous system, and it's teaching it to fail. So just psychologically, if you think about failing, that's not something you want to be doing. Now, the only instance where this might be applicable is if you're shooting for a personal best, and people sometimes like to do this. If you're a power lifter or you're someone sort of even having that competitive edge, you want to know what your absolute best is for any one exercise. And you might, at certain intervals in the year, take time to do personal bests for maybe 1 or 2 or even 3 or 4 of your favorite exercises. So some people have a personal best for the bench press. It's obviously something cool you can tell your friends. Some people have a personal best for the one-legged squat, and you can definitely go for that at certain intervals. But if you're training for this every day, you're going to eventually overload the nervous system quite quickly, and you're going to have to take a break from an injury. And that's going to be less productive to your overall strength gains and muscle gains than actually just taking the time to get to the point where the exercise becomes very difficult and that you're breathing heavily, but you haven't gone to the point of failure. So whether you're training for muscle endurance, and this is often done through bodyweight training with like lots of push-ups, lots of sit-ups, lots of squats, all without weights, just using your own body weight, what you would do in this case is you train to the point of being very tired, but never to the point where you're on the floor doing push-ups and you just cannot get that last one. If you can't get that last one in, you've gone too far. And you wouldn't want to be doing that if you were doing them at push-ups every other day. You wouldn't want to be doing that every time you were doing it every other day. It's more productive to go to a point, like I said, of being very tired and then not quite going all the way to the edge. And same with bodybuilding. It's even more of a myth in bodybuilding that you must lift a weight or squat a weight to the point of being completely wiped out. But that's actually not the way that elite level athletes do it and it's ideally not the way that beginners or even intermediates do it either. There's going to be certain periods where you might do that. There's some people that go on a month of intense training, but they have large breaks in between their training. They might train 2 or 3 times a week at most, and they are training to failure, and they're doing very low numbers of sets, like 2 or 3 sets per exercise, but they're doing heavy weight and they're doing right to the edge. But this is something you can continue over the long term, because it's going to overload the nervous system, and you're going to end up tearing a muscle, injuring a tendon, injuring a ligament, and it's better to be fully present and aware and fully in the muscle as you're doing an exercise than it is to be, cranking it out till you feel the thing give out. Power lifters and Olympic lifters know this above all, that they do not want to train to failure. They're often doing very heavy weight with few reps and few sets, and so they know that if they max out and they get to the point of failure, they really risk severely injuring themselves because they're using such heavy weight. If you fail in the middle of an exercise and it's with a weight that is very hard for you to control, as it is, if your muscles are failing, and it's something that's a compound exercise where you're using multiple muscle groups in your body, you could end up rupturing a disc in your spine, throwing out your pelvis, throwing out your shoulder, just because once you lose control of the weight, it's very dangerous for the joints and the ligaments of the body, not to mention the muscles. So with any type of strength training, you have to look at what your goals are. Different people have different goals. Sometimes it's good to mix a combination of all of them. You might be emphasizing one over the other. So there's strength endurance, which is like how many repetitions of any one exercise you can do continuously. So whether it's push-ups or sit-ups, some people want to go to their absolute peak, and when they get close to that, they can keep training that and they'll get further and further along. But if you're interested in finding out how far you can go with an exercise, you would do a large amount of these exercises if it was a push-up, for instance, but you wouldn't go to the point of failure. You'd increase it a little bit every time you're doing it. And Bill Pearl said that if you're not getting more out of the workout you did previously in the current workout, then you're doing something wrong. So each workout you do, if you have a very good schedule set up and you have times of rest but not too much, and if you have the proper staggering of training days, you're going to be increasing your body's strength and abilities with every training session. Next, there's maximum strength. So what's the heaviest weight you can lift in one rep? So this is the mentality that powerlifters go for. It's what they're looking to do, or strongman competitions when you see those guys lifting like the Atlas ball, which is like a big sphere of stone, and they have to put it on that ledge. People that are doing this type of exercise in strength training, like I already mentioned, know not to go to the point of failure because they're using such heavy weight. Then the other type of strength training is explosive strength. So it's how quickly can you accelerate a weight. So whether it's your own body weight, if you're jumping upwards, whether it's a kettlebell that you're lifting up into the air. So explosive strength is probably one part of strength that most people aren't familiar with, and it's probably the most applicable to sports. So if you're training a certain exercise that works on this, it can translate into being more effective on the field or on the rink or whatever place you're playing at for your sport. Now all of these have their health benefits, and all of these need to be adhered to with not overtraining, with the most important being maximum strength and explosive strength. You don't want to overtrain on, because that's where the injuries can occur from. So if you think of someone doing plyometrics where they're jumping up and down, most exercise physiologists agree that you don't want to do plyometrics more than 2 times a week. It's obviously going to be different if you're an Olympic athlete or a gymnast and you're doing that for training. You're going to be on a specific program, and it's going to be tailored to for you to recover in time. But the basic, I don't want to say rule, but thing people do need to take into consideration is that training to failure is not a daily or every other day thing that you want to do in your strength program. Now, a special announcement is that on December 1st, I'm going to be starting a program that I'm going to keep you guys up to date on a weekly basis. So I'll put out a video once a week updating you on my progress. I'll be doing sort of a weigh-in, measurements of certain parts of my body, and sort of along the line showing you my progress and what I'm doing in terms of my diet and other lifestyle factors and habits that I'm keeping to. So I'm going to be following a bodybuilding program to put on muscle mass. It's not what I'm used to doing. I'm used to doing more strength training that doesn't put on muscle mass but actually works the nervous system more. But I've gotten to a point where that's something I'm interested in pursuing. And I'm probably going to realistically shoot to do this for at least 6 months, but maybe it'll go for a year, maybe it'll go on indefinitely. We'll just see where it goes. But I've got a pretty good program lined up. I'm still getting a few things sorted out. And come December 1st, I'm going to have a page up on my website where I'll be sort of archiving all the videos to keep it almost like a blog, so people can refer to that to see my progress from day 1 all the way to day 365, and see what the difference is along the whole way, and they can see what I was doing right in terms of having this work for myself. So I'm quite excited about this. I hope you can stick around and follow that. And with that, I'm going to say take care and embrace life without limits.